You know, one thing I told myself in a moment of fatigue at work yesterday? By the way, good morning. And if it's not morning for you, good night. And if it's not night for you, you're probably not listening. One thing I told myself yesterday in a moment of fatigue was, and it was nobody's, it was completely internal. I had no issue with anybody. Nobody was the reason for grumpiness, energylessness. But just a moment, really. And I knew that it was just one of those flash floods of tiredness. One of those just get over this hump sorts of moments. But I said, soon, Marcus, this will be a distant memory. And it really made it 10 times more okay. It really helped me to just move forward without permanently altering my mood, without interpreting my circumstances as profoundly dissatisfying. By the way, I have coffee. Just assume that I am equipped with coffee, okay? Just because you're going to hear some sips, and I'm not trying to edit it. I'm not trying to go back and edit it for you, all right? Edit the sips? Edit out the sips? No, this is real life. But it was so true, and I actually thought about it this morning. It is the morning, but I mean, I thought about it when I was literally before I got my coffee, I guess. I suppose I should say I thought about it 20 minutes ago. Before rolling out of bed. It's like, what is it? I think it's like 7-something a.m. right now. But this will all be a distant memory. And it's something that I used to say just a year or two ago, too. Something that I learned when I was meditating. Something that seemed just so apparent. And that is, it's all temporary. It's all transient. No matter how good you feel, the highest of high, the joy, the satisfaction and fulfillment, it's transient, it's temporary. No matter how bad you feel, the shittiness, the sadness, the pain, at least I'm talking about your standard sorts, all right? I'm not talking about the terminal. I'm not talking about the chronic traumatic, which you need medical attention for, which might lead you to a shorter life. I know that there's certain kinds of pain that eventually lead to death, and all one can be is anesthetized. We do numb ourselves, though. We numb without the industrial strength pharmaceuticals. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, your basic sorts of dissatisfactions and elations. It's all temporary. It's all transient. And this is not to be morbid or quote unquote emo. It's just true. When I feel really good and everything's great, it helps me to remember that it's all temporary. Why? Because even when things are going good, even when I feel highly rewarded, the problem with somebody like myself, with the disposition like myself, I have an addictive chemistry, an addictive inclination, and if something feels really good, I want it to last forever. And I want to continually hit that button. And there's a frustration when that button isn't granting the same high. To that, you might say everybody wants to feel good forever and feel good. I agree that people want to feel good. But some of us are more willing to become super narrow-minded about it. For some of us, it's the high, though. It's not just feeling good. It's when the high is gone, it feels like we're at the the bottom of the cliff naked, shivering, barefoot. We need that high again. It's like high or nothing. And it's important that you realize that about yourself, if you are like that, lest you succumb to the more dangerous sorts of highs. One way I describe myself to a person, because I'm definitely a weirdo, an oddity, and I say, you know, the people that are on the street with their signs, there's two ways, I think. One is flattering, and one, I suppose, is self-deprecating. But the person on the street with the sign saying that looks, not relatively healthy, but not too worn down, but they're still without their home, and they're just saying, hey, can I get some food? That could easily be me, were I to not care about health, my well-being, sensibility, and also were I to not have had the safety nets that I had. Yes, I'm saying I'm equating my mentality, my psychology to that of many homeless people. And because I am that unstable, I am that lacking, and not that, as well, to make something clear first. Obviously, many homeless people, obviously, it was out of their hands. They were extremely unlucky in other regards, other than their internal environment. They also were born into external environments that were not at all conducive to their well-being, to their flourishing, and that took on a momentum of its own, as they say. I guess the better example, I suppose, would be, you ever hear about these writers, these artists, these people who are creative, who are just some kind of out of their fucking mind, or just extremely weird, eccentric people? I'm that without the accomplishments to give me that credibility. I relate more to misfits than I do to a normal person. I don't relate to normal people at all, to be quite honest. And I don't say that with any kind of sadness, although I know my tone might be dry and seemingly somber. I have accepted it. And I don't look at normal people with admiration or envy either. You know what's interesting about envy? I was, this book, Subtlety of Emotions, I think I mentioned it before. But I was like, he touched on why I do, because I used to think that I didn't feel envy because something was just in me that didn't feel envy. And I think he made it a little bit clearer why I don't. Because I never thought what he said is obvious. These people next door have like a 200-pound door. They're like, dude, they cannot open their door without slamming that mother ever. Okay, anyway. It's my new neighbors. He was just saying, he just pointed out how typically we are envious of those that we feel are in our, and I'm using my words, not his. Typically we feel envious of those that we feel are in our same lane, so to speak. We feel we're in competition with them because there's similarities, there's parallels that we draw from our circumstances and theirs, or our lives, our being. Like, if I was an architect, I might be envious of another person who's an architect, If I cared about this, or if I cared about these values or this, I realize why a lot of people are so envious, because everybody sort of relates to other people. That's why we co-sign on each other's bullshit. A lot of normal people relate to other people. Thus, if those other people are in these quote unquote superior positions, more advantageous positions, there's envy. And I realize why I've never felt envy or jealousy towards people in general. I think I've had to have had moments. I'm sure I have. I've had glimmers. But I realize why, for example, I think, like, take my brother Eric, for example. Or take anyone in my family. Or anyone I've ever known personally. Anyone, not just in my family, anybody. I've never felt envy or jealousy because their wants have never been my wants. I've never felt the same as anybody else. I felt very similar. Eric is the closest person that I've ever felt similar to. But even he and I are still quite different in our appetites. And because of that, their successes and their desires, they've just never have been mine. That's why that's why it's been all good. And so when I'm saying, I guess my point about this is that I guess I could feel envy were I to feel as if somebody was just like me. But I don't think, I've never personally met somebody just like me. And then that person is killing it, you know? Although I do relate to people, you know, with and Good Will Hunting. Matt Damon's character was like he relates to, I mean, he was just talking out of his ass at the same time too. But he's talking about he relates to like Shakespeare and all these other dead authors and intellectuals and stuff. To be honest, I do relate to a lot, but I feel that I relate to a lot of people that don't exist anymore. A lot of people that have written books that I've read. But even then, there's still, I relate to fictitious characters. A character named Juan Antonio from the film Vicky Cristina Barcelona, played by Javier Bardem. I relate to Juan Antonio, but even then I'm still quite different from him, you know? So I could say, man, I envy Juan Antonio's lifestyle, which is, how would you categorize that? It's not necessarily purely hedonistic, I would say, but it's, I guess you can, I don't know if it's hedonism. I like it. See, when I look at Juan Antonio and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, when I look at him, I look at that and I'm like, I'd like to have that life. But I don't, like, that's all, but then it ends immediately. Like, it doesn't go further. It's not, because the kind of envy that I'm thinking about that people tends to be a problem that people often have is, when I see envy, it usually causes people to mistreat another person, to be disrespectful towards another person. Like, you envy that person, so you harbor resentment towards them. And I just, that's what I can't relate to. I can understand looking at somebody's circumstances and be like, dang, wish I had that. I'd like to have that for myself. I'd like to have that for myself. But never, I don't want to be another motherfucker. And nor does it get to a point where I'm gonna hold it against them as if, like, what did they do to me for me to mistreat them or hurt them in their success? Unless they stepped on my head to get ahead. Yeah, unless they stepped on my head to get ahead, maybe then I'd be annoyed, aggravated. That's the part I don't get. The negativity, the allowing it to inform your actions towards that person as if they've personally attacked you somehow through their success. That's what I don't understand. Like, let's say I've read a novel before where the writing, to me, I felt like, man, I could write better than this. I know I could write better than this. And then there was a moment where it's like, you know, you see this author's fame, like, I know I could do better. and then it ends there. If I met that author, I wouldn't tell them how much they suck, nor would I tell anybody else how much I think they suck. Even if I thought that author sucked, even if I thought that person, like when it comes to Twilight, I never read Twilight, but I say millions, I suppose, at this point. I don't know how many people read that novel. It's, hundreds of thousands. I'm sure it's millions. Have read that book and have been positively affected by it. Who the fuck are we to say that that author, Stephenie Meyer, I believe, is not literarily competent, even though her writing may, in the eyes of everyone else who's read the quote unquote better writers, the better authors, the ones that really can write quote unquote, even if you're well acquainted with them and then you read her book, like, what is this shit? Because you see so much flimsiness in her writing and simplicity that's laughable or something, whatever is the problem with it. She clearly did something right, though. And you can say, doesn't it make it right? Well, all I'm against is the stupefaction of anybody. And if I'm against something that's entertaining and simultaneously damaging too. Like, you heard me, if you've been listening to me, you've heard me rant about the lazy and uninspired music that exists, which I think that's just so different, man. Or maybe it's not, but listening to music is so much more passive than reading a book. So I'm almost for reading anything as opposed to listening to anything. I digress. Went down a rabbit hole for a second there. Let's come back, shall we? I don't know the screen. 1 second, guys. I'm gonna take another sip of coffee. Don't mind me. I've been doing better with my addictions, though, with my addictive inclination. And perspective has helped me a lot. The whole it's all temporary thing. Because I believe that. It's not even just me trying to say it to convince myself. I believe it now. But I do believe that when you're when you acquire a belief, you have to reinforce it. You have to constantly confront it, or else you'll forget it. There's so many things that we believe that we forget. Like, if you could really snap yourself out of misunderstanding somebody in a moment of debate or being impatient, if you could really believe that, hey, it's better to listen, to be patient, to try harder, to comprehend what they're saying. If you could snap yourself out of it, you would. But the way that we work as humans is it's just not that easy. You can't snap yourself out of specific moods at certain specific moments. Our moods, our mental environments they're so compromised constantly by our tiredness. There's this woman, I should say, on YouTube, Violin MD. There's a lot of doctors who vlog their lives. Now that's some interesting shit right there to me. Her name is Violin MD. She's in Canada. And she asked herself, HALT. It's this acronym. This is completely out of context, by the way. I think she was about to go to sleep or something. She was about to go to sleep in one of the rooms dedicated for doctors to rest. And HALT meant, she said, does that mean, are you hungry? Was it hungry? What's the A stand for? The L stands for lonely. The T stands for tired. What does the A stand for? That sucks. Hungry, blank, lonely, tired. Here's the problem. Now I gotta know what the A stands for. I don't feel like getting up. My phone's not near me. Not hungry or angry. Hungry. Hungry, A, lonely, or tired. I want to say angry, but I'm not sure if that's what it is. Fine. Oh, God, I'm so mad that I can't remember. I'm so mad. The irony. I'm genuinely getting angry about not knowing whether or not the A stands for angry. Fuck it. Let's move on, shall we? Okay, but I thought that was interesting because it fell into my 4 pillars. Because it's what she was speaking to was how there are undercurrents, there's states of being that are disrespectful towards your conscious intentions. They don't give a damn about the fact that you'd like to be productive, that you'd like to be harmonious. It's the matter disrupting the mind. It's particularly the hungry and tired part. But my 4 pillars: sleep, nourishment, physical activity, and healthy conversations. You got to get those in order. You got to. And why did I bring that up? Because I was saying that was better with my addictive tendencies. Is it because I got those in order? Well, check those out. Check out those doctor vlogs. I don't know what I was talking about. Look, hey. Hey. I can't always be there, guys. It's not my fault. I am at the mercy of my brain. What do you want from me? You want perfection? You want perfection? Go watch one of these motherfudgers. But yeah, the doctor's vlogging it, alright. It's interesting. It's cool stuff, I guess. I mean, I prefer to watch that over just nonsense. God, young people piss me off. Young people piss me off so much. They're just, dude, calm down. Get the caffeine out their diets, dude. What the fuck? They're not funny. They're not creative. I was thinking about this when I was at work. It was just randomly in my... Oh, no, yeah. I was thinking about this because of some unfunny people. I was like, you know what, man? I was like, you know what helped make... And I have to mention him one more time. You know what helped make my brother Eric so fucking hilarious? And, you might agree to this or not, but I think it helped a lot. When I was up there, when we were living together, Eric would throw jokes out constantly. And sometimes I wouldn't laugh. And I wouldn't laugh to be a dick. Sometimes it's just not everything he said was gold. But I feel like there's this tacit agreement, if not overt. I feel like I remember at least one occasion, I feel like it was at least twice, where I told him this. I was like, when I would laugh, I'm like, see, they're not all gold. Or I think maybe when I was not laughing, I was like, hey, they're not all gold, man. Like, I'll laugh when I think it's funny, but sometimes it's not. But Eric would he damn near like a comedian trying to figure out what his stand-up material is going to be. I'm not saying that's what he was doing, because he doesn't reuse it. But I'm saying that Eric had this inclination to say funny things, to be witty, to be clever. And it took a lot to make me laugh. It took a particular level of humor to make me laugh. And it is what it is. He's a human fucking being. Not everything is going to be gold. But when it was funny, that shit was funny. And I feel like, and this is when we were younger. And now, I'm sure that his success rate let's say if his success rate at the time of being funny was at 40, maybe let's say if he had 50% success rate, I bet you now it's probably fucking 90 or something, because he's hilarious. But my point is that he had to work for it. He tried. He put effort into it, and he had an audience, me, that had standards for what was fucking funny. These kids just go waka waka. It's supposed to be funny. They're just crazy and it's supposed to be hilarious. They're just loud and it's supposed to be hilarious. What the fuck? Y'all ain't funny, man. Alright. I don't know. What else? Moving on. Oh, God. What I'm going to try to do today? Going to work. I'm going to try to work out after this. I'm going to stop this joint. And then I'm going to work out. I'm going to put some selective stress upon my body. Some voluntary stress. So that the involuntarily received stress will be less so. Eating breakfast now. So I'm normally a morning faster. But I find that if you create the demand for hunger, if you create the demand for food, I should say, not the demand for hunger. Create the demand for food if you're someone who's normally not hungry in the morning. I feel like it makes you less cranky, less irritable later on in the day. Fasting's cool though, you know? Fasting's good. Intermittent fasting I'm talking about. But sometimes you gotta switch it up. And I find that if I stir up my appetite in the morning, which tends to not naturally be there, I'm better off for it, it would seem. It's seasons though. It may be different later on. I related to music with somebody about all these songs, and it felt great. It's dope when somebody else loves music. I realized you know what I took for granted? You know what I seriously took for granted? I seriously took for granted that I thought everybody loved music. But then I realized as I've gotten into this world, not everybody loves music. Like, loves music. You know, you think that's one of those things. Yeah, everybody loves music. No, everyone appreciates music, perhaps. Everyone kind of likes music. Everyone doesn't love music. Like, love it. Love it. I thought that everybody had a love and people just love different things. Motherfuckers don't love music. The music's not in them, man. I talk with so many people about this and they don't know no songs. They don't know anything. Music is not a factor in their life. The music they listen to is just some pop shit. That's it. Pop music. I have nothing against it. But I do have something against pop music when that is solely what you listen to and it's just the equivalent of white noise for you. It's a more tantalizing form of white noise. But I guess it's not a choice either, though. I can't be too critical of people with that. I can't be too critical because I've always loved music. I've loved it truly, and I never talked about it. I never wanted to compete about it with other people. So those other people like, I love music. Like I thought we all did. I was just talking with a friend the other day, and my brother from another mother, and I was just reminded about how in my head we were talking about something. I was like, man, I used to fall asleep listening to. I remember there's a Romeo and Juliet song. It's Dun 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 dun. And I had it on this cassette. I had looped it over and over. I used to fall asleep listening to that on a loop over and over. I remember the first time I heard Sam Cooke's "A Change Is Gonna Come." I had to, and as soon as I had the opportunity to download it, I downloaded it on my computer on dial-up connection. Or maybe it's when I finally got DSL. Yeah, I had a DSL line. Yeah, I don't know about DSL. Don't act like you know about DSL. But I remember listening to Sam Cooke, "A Change Is Gonna Come" over, and it just touched my fucking soul over and over and over and over. I remember when I first heard Led Zeppelin's "Babe, I'm Gonna Leave You" over and over and over. Donnell Jones, "Where I Want to Be," Lauryn Hill's, like just, Stevie Wonder songs. Like, and it helped. It definitely helped that I had a musical family. My family, everyone. Each one of the people in my family actually had their own contribution, 100%. It all meshed, but they all, like, each one. My mother, my father, and all my brothers. I can name one artist I can name a few artists that they've each contributed. Songs that they each contributed. Songs that I would not have heard were it not for them. And that's quite fortunate. And on top of that, the video games I had played, the unique movies and shows that I watched, music, man. Music. The daggone intro from Ghost in the Shell. Angeles and demoness and the freaking ending to the Fatal Fury motion. That's his Steven's contribution. Fatal Fury, the motion picture. The ending to that. Oh, oh, my angel. Music. Fuck, how do y'all not love music out there? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for your loss. How you don't love music? Fuck. I get how. To feel is to then be disappointed. To feel is to then... Feeling leads to emptiness. Potentially. Not certainly, but potentially. And so I think that's one of the reasons why people don't fall in love with music, is because I think pain. I think music can make you feel too much. That's actually why I've gone. There's been stretches of time where I haven't listened to music for that reason, because it was too painful. Like, I used to listen to R&B constantly, only R&B. For such a long time when I was younger. Not only R&B. It was like R&B and rap. And there's so many different kinds of rap. That's one of the reasons why I resent a lot of the rap music. That there was so many different kinds of versions and styles of rap. And now all I'm hearing is this homogenized shit, which it's just uniform shit. It pisses me off. But anyway, what was I saying? It makes you feel. And I didn't want to listen to music for a while, because I think I was in such a highly sensitive state that everything as such, I couldn't listen to it because it hurt too much. It hurt too much. So I get it. I had to take a break from music for a while. Yeah, I had to take a break from music for a while because it made me feel too much. So I ain't mad at you. I get it. And I can't act like I'm superior. I grew up in particularly fortunate circumstances where it made an impression upon me, I suppose. Or maybe it's just my chemistry, whatever the case. I'm sure there's something that I should love or I should appreciate that I don't. Football. All sports being one of them. I like UFC. I love UFC. But yeah, mixed martial arts, I love that shit. But I tell you what, in my older age, more than ever, I can see I understand the attraction of sports. I get it. I still can't like sit down and really watch it or care about it a lot, significantly at all. But I get it. See, if I would have grew up in a sports family, I wonder if my attitude would be completely different. I always say there was like these definitive moments, man. Like when I wanted to get NBA Jam, and instead we got this game called Gauntlet, and that's an RPG, sort of action RPG. Oh, hold on. And who knows? I used to play. I played like, what was it, Tecmo? I used to play football. I had Madden 95 for the Super Nintendo. I'd play sports games. I had some basketball games and stuff, but it wasn't enough. My mind eventually developed an appetite for storylines and more creativity. Alright, let me shut the fuck up, because now I don't know if I'm even saying anything of interest. And I got people turning on their cars out here and stuff. Hey y'all, I hope y'all Thursday is a blur's day. And you're not supposed to date your recordings by talking about the day and all that stuff, but what are you talking about? We here, we are chronological with it, you know? If this is anachronistic, then go eat a biscuit, alright? Alright, y'all. Love y'all. Peace out.